Australia drug smuggling case. The parents urged to watch their children while handling fireworks. The Royal Malaysian Customs Department, or JKDM, has been instructed to prepare a complete and detailed report on the seizure of 336 kilograms of heroin in a shipping container from Malaysia to Brisbane on the 13th of March. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim said he wanted the report presented to him in 2 weeks. He described the incident as a national humiliation.
Bagaimana boleh dalam sistem yang canggih sekarang boleh bolos begitu besar jumlah penyelundupan dadah dari Pelabuhan Kelang. Jadi saya dah minta pihak custom yang bertanggungjawab memberi laporan penuh tentang punca apa yang berlaku, bagaimana dah 12 atau 16 kali hal sedemikian berlaku sehingga ditangkap di Australia, dan itu menunjukkan kelemahan kita yang mesti diatasi. Dan saya minta polis, terutama bahagian siasatan jenayah dan siasatan jenayah komersial juga bersama dalam siasatan ini, kerana dalam tempoh 1-2 minggu kita mahu laporan penuh dan lengkap memastikan penyelundupan ini boleh dihalang.
The Premier also said the incident shows the weaknesses in the system that is needed to be addressed. Smuggling is not a small matter, and the focus should not be about the large amount of drugs or its value in millions, but the weaknesses in the national security system. The heroin, worth an estimated 268.8 million Australian dollars or 789.56 million ringgit, was stashed in 2 concrete blocks. The checks revealed that the shipment was declared as solar panel accessories. Now, earlier this morning, Datuk Seri Anwar participated in the Qiyamul Perdana program held at the Putra Mosque. The Premier arrived at 4:30 a.m. and managed to grab the opportunity to interact with other members of the congregation before Tahajjud prayers. The congregational Qiyamul started at about 4:40 a.m. with the Tahajjud prayer, followed by the repentance prayer and the Hajat prayer, all led by guest Imam Hanif Azmir Hasim, and then the sahur or the pre-dawn meal. After that, Datuk Seri Anwar joined in the congregational subuh prayer led by a guest Imam, Ahmad Fairuz Nazaruddin, which was then followed by a talk delivered by the Director of the Policy and Strategic Division of the National Governance, Integrity and Anti-Corruption Centre, Muhammad Gunawan Sheikh Abdul Aziz. The Qiyamul Perdana program, organised by JAKIM, was attended by about 2,000 congregants. Also present were Minister in the Prime Minister's Department for Religious Affairs, Datuk Dr. Muhammad Naim Mokhtar, Chief Secretary to the Government, Tan Sri Muhammad Zuki Ali, and Director General of the Islamic Development Department of Malaysia, or JAKIM, Datuk Hakimah Muhammad Yusof. Now, parents and guardians are reminded to monitor their children's activities when playing with firecrackers or fireworks, especially now that Aidilfitri is just around the corner. Deputy Women, Family and Community Development Minister Aiman Atira Sabu said the government will take stern action on parents and guardians who neglect the safety of their child.
Kalau di peringkat Kementerian Pembangunan Wanita, Keluarga dan Masyarakat boleh ditafsirkan sebagai satu pengabaian. Jadi kita pun mengharapkan supaya mereka lebih peka, kerana di peringkat kami tidak akan teragak-agak untuk sekiranya berlaku pengabaian-pengabaian yang jelas ketara melanggar undang-undang kita, khususnya di bawah Akta Kanak-kanak 2001, kita akan mengambil tindakanlah.
To date, it has been reported that 5 children have been injured in cases involving firecrackers and fireworks in Kedah and Terengganu. Now, several videos also went viral on social media showing children getting involved in misuse of firecrackers and fireworks to cause bodily harm and disruption of peace in their neighborhoods. The Malaysia Fire and Rescue Department, or JBPM, has frozen the leaves of 80% of officers and personnel nationwide. Now, this was done in preparation to face any emergency, including fires, throughout the Aidilfitri festive season. JBPM Director General Dato' Abdul Wahab Mat Yassin said 10,174 personnel were involved in the freezing of leaves, which come into effect starting today until 30th of April. Now, aside from physical methods, campaigns will also be done via social media such as Facebook, Telegram, YouTube, and TikTok. Regarding potential fire hotspots due to the recent high temperatures recorded in Malaysia, Dato' Abdul Wahab said there have been no identified potential fire hotspots on structures. Now, this is because structure fire happens only due to certain factors, and it is not tied to only a single factor such as an increase in temperature. Nonetheless, JBPM will remain prepared and alert towards popular premises, which will be crowded with people during Ramadan and Hari Raya. Now, the involvement of the public as members of the Relawan Rahmah volunteers is highly encouraged towards making all programs under Payung Rahmah a success. Now, according to Domestic Trade and Cost of Living Minister Datuk Sri Salahuddin Ayub, Relawan Rahmah was formed under the Rahmah Foundation, which is tasked with helping in the distribution of aid to people from the various walks of life, especially those from the B40 group.
Tentang Yayasan Rahmah ini ada permohonan daripada NGO yang mungkin mereka teruja dengan program rahmah yang kementerian telah anjurkan. Mereka membuat permohonan, mereka proses biasa, dan pegawai di peringkat SSM telah meneliti, dan saya yakinlah bahawa SSM telah melihat pada keseluruhan peraturan dan syarat. Jadi recommendation mereka untuk diluluskan, dan mereka bersedia untuk membantu kementerian untuk program-program yang kita telah aturkan di bawah inisiatif Payung Rahmah.
The foundation is also an important strategic partner to the Ministry of Domestic Trade and Cost of Living. The ministry oversees and manages the funds entrusted by public and private sources for the numerous welfare activities. Still ahead, 200 million ringgit for development of Wakaf land in Pulau Pinang. The federal government agreed to approve an allocation of 200 million ringgit as a soft loan fund to drive the development of Wakaf land. The Prime Minister said development of the Wakaf land will be handled by the newly appointed Pulau Pinang Bumiputra Development Council Chairman, Tan Sri Khalid Ramli. The Premier explained that for starters, the fund will be used to develop a housing project on Wakaf land in Permatang Pao.
Kita akan cuba bangunkan, ini di antara tugas utama majlis yang baru ini. Sama ada program itu program perumahan atau perniagaan, tentulah mengikut syariah kerana tanah itu tanah wakaf. Kita tahu tanah wakaf ni trustee land. Itu yang sudah lama, ada yang kita rekod ada yang 100 tahun, ada yang 80 tahun, tapi tak dibangunkan, diterbiar. Dan setengah tanah itu di kawasan yang strategik di Pulau Pinang. Jadi dengan sendirinya tanpa mengganggu apa-apa, kita boleh bangunkan untuk masyarakat Melayu Pulau Pinang.
The federal government had also approved an additional allocation of 10 million ringgit to enable 1,000 toughest students to get skills training, technical and vocational education and training or TVET certification. The government is striving to increase the production of more companies based on digital economy and technology in Malaysia. Economy Minister Rafizi Ramli said technology companies that produce digital products with high commercial value will be able to attract foreign investors to Malaysia.
We need to mainstream innovation so that people understand the whole stream of the tech business and product creation, so that we have more people and so that we can elevate all these ideas to the national level. And that
He said this at a pre-launching ceremony of a reality television program in Putrajaya. He further explained that investors will be attracted to a country that has many technology companies that produce innovative and cutting-edge technologies. As such, the ministry is aiming to produce more talents who have awareness and understanding of innovative products and technology. Improving innovative and technological talents is a prerequisite for a successful digital economy ecosystem driven by the government and private agencies. Now, the issue on internet service sharing faced by some users in the country is expected to be resolved in the month of June or after. Communications and Digital Minister Fahmi Fadzil said the ministry will resolve network sharing issues in phases. A series of discussions with the telecommunication companies involved has also been held to identify the cause and practical solutions.
Tanya berkisar isu network sharing dan kita bagi pihak kementerian akan mengusahakan beberapa perkara secara berfasa. Pada waktu ini oleh kerana Yang Berhormat Perdana Menteri telah mengarahkan Kementerian Komunikasi dan Digital untuk melakukan review untuk pelaksanaan 5G, maka itu menjadi fokus kita sehingga selesai. Tapi pada masa yang sama, pihak SKMM telah mengadakan siri perbincangan dengan syarikat-syarikat telekomunikasi dan kita telah mengenal pasti metod ataupun cara untuk kita merapatkan jurang menyelesaikan masalah network sharing di kalangan syarikat-syarikat telekomunikasi yang berbeza.
As of now, Fahmi said the 4G services were available at 96.92% of the populated areas in the country. However, not all of them were having the same connectivity or speed issues. Hence, a mutual understanding between different telcos must be achieved to completely bridge the 3.8% gap remaining. Tensions rise in France as retirement reforms get partial green light. That and more in the foreign segment. Now, a young National Guardsman was charged Friday with orchestrating the most damaging leak of U.S. classified documents for a decade. As the government signaled, it intends to make an example of the 21-year-old. Jack Teixeira was arrested Thursday following a week-long probe into the leak of documents which unveiled U.S. concern over Ukraine's ability to fend off the Russian invasion and showed Washington has spied on allies Israel and South Korea. Teixeira, who wore a beige jumpsuit and appeared glum at his first court appearance in Boston, was charged with the unauthorized retention and transmission of national defense information. He is also accused of the unauthorized removal and retention of classified documents or materials. The counts carry maximum prison sentences of 10 years and 5 years, respectively. He was not required to enter a plea and was held pending a detention hearing set for next Wednesday. U.S. President Joe Biden had ordered the military and intelligence community to tighten security around sensitive information after the breach. Teixeira is suspected of posting the documents, some dated as recently as early March, to a private chat group on the social media platform Discord. Now, some of the documents later appeared on other sites, including Twitter, Fortune, and Telegram. Investigators have not yet suggested what Teixeira's motive was. The tensions rose in France with peaceful protests and arrests after the country's highest constitutional authority partially upheld controversial pension reforms championed by President Emmanuel Macron. The France's Constitutional Court approved the core parts of Macron's pension reform on Friday, paving the way for the centrist head of state to sign into a law a hike in the retirement age to 64 from its current level of 62. The Nine Sages, as they are known, also rejected 6 measures, including ones regarding senior workers. Protesters gathered in Paris before the verdict in the Place de la Hôtel de Ville Square, not far from the Constitutional Council building, and in other cities as well, showing their opposition peacefully. Police arrested 112 protesters in the capital, broadcaster BFM TV announced, citing Paris police. Security forces also used tear gas on protesters. According to BFM TV, Macron must sign the bill into law within 48 hours. Trade unions are calling on him to do the opposite. The government unveiled the reform proposal in January, and it was taken up for parliamentary debate the following month, even as millions took to the streets to oppose the reforms. Now, workers and trade unions, among others, vehemently opposed the plan. Amid months of protests, French police were accused of making arbitrary arrests and using excessive force against demonstrators. A severe tropical cyclone lashed northwestern Australia, bringing the strongest winds the country has ever recorded. But officials said towns and cities appeared to have escaped the worst of the storm. Cyclone Ilsa made landfall early Friday morning with the highest intensity rating on a 1 to 5 scale, and then moved inland as emergency crews urged several remote communities along the storm's path to seek shelter and remain indoors. Ilsa set a new preliminary Australian 10-minute sustained wind speed record of 218 kilometers per hour at Bedouin Island, about 40 kilometers offshore, eclipsing Cyclone George's 194 kilometers at the same location in 2007. The storm was downgraded by the Weather Bureau to a Category 3 system early on Friday, but officials warn it could still pack gusts of up to 170 kilometers per hour. Ilsa is expected to weaken to a tropical low overnight and move into the southern parts of the Northern Territory. Heavy bursts of rain are forecast in some areas, likely triggering flash floods. Germany will pull the plug on its last 3 nuclear power stations by Saturday, ending a 6-decade program that spawned one of Europe's strongest protest movements, but saw a brief reprieve due to the Ukraine war. The smoking towers of Isar 2, Emsland and Neckarwestheim 2 reactors were to shut forever by midnight on Saturday, as Berlin enacts its plan for fully renewable electricity generation by 2035. According to the Economy Ministry, the last 3 plants contributed only around 5% of electricity production in Germany in the first 3 months of the year. And nuclear power made up just 6% of Germany's energy production last year, compared to 44% from renewables. Data by the Federal Statistics Office showed. Still, 2/3 of Germans favor extending the lifespan of reactors or connecting all plants back to the grid, with only 28% backing the phase-out, a survey by the Forza Institute showed earlier this week. The government says supply is guaranteed after the nuclear phase-out and that Germany will still export electricity, citing high gas storage levels, new liquid gas terminals on the north coast, and renewable energies expansion. Aerial images show bodies on the ground inside Ecuadorian prison, a port of Guayaquil, after several clashes with gunfire. 3 were injured as a result of clashes between inmates. Authorities haven't given a death toll from the clashes inside the prison, which is a part of a larger prison complex. At least 5 people were killed and 15 wounded on Friday by a Russian missile strike on the eastern Ukrainian city of Sloviansk. The regional governor wrote on Telegram that 7 more people remain under the rubble after S-300 missiles damaged 5 apartment buildings and 5 private buildings, among other objects. Sloviansk is one of the 2 eastern cities coveted by Russian forces, currently bogged down in nearby Bakhmut as they push ahead with their invasion of Ukraine. The European Space Agency's JUICE space probe successfully launched on a mission to discover whether Jupiter's icy moons are capable of hosting extraterrestrial life in their vast hidden oceans. The rocket was launched from Europe's spaceport in Kourou, French Guiana, and its trajectory is nominal. Now, JUICE will take a long and winding path to the gas giant, which is 628 million kilometers from Earth. It will use several gravitational boosts along the way, first by doing a flyby of Earth and the Moon, then by slingshotting around Venus in 2025 before swinging past Earth again in 2029.
Attention, pour le début de la séquence finale lanceur.
Next in sport, JDT Terengganu reached FA Cup last 8. Four teams, Johor Darul Takzim, JDT, Terengganu FC, Kelantan FC and KL City FC, marched into the FA Cup quarterfinals after beating their respective opponents in the second round of the tournament. There were no surprises as JDT put down PDRM FC 3-0 at Sultan Ibrahim Stadium, Johor last night, scoring as early as the 3rd minute through striker Bergson da Silva. The other 2 goals were from penalties in the 12th minute by Bergson and Leandro Velasquez in the 27th minute. Terengganu FC meanwhile beat Melaka United FC 4-0 at Sultan Mizan Zainal Abidin Stadium in Kuala Nerus, also scoring early in the 5th minute through Croatian import Ivan Mahmud. It was only in the second half that they went another goal ahead thanks to substitute Hakimi Abdullah's strike in the 70th minute. Terengganu's 2 final goals were both scored by Jordan Minter in the 82nd and in injury time. The 2 teams will be joined by KL City FC in the quarterfinals after they beat Immigration FC 2-0 at the Kuala Lumpur Football Stadium in Cheras. KL City's T. Saravanan scored just before the half-time whistle in the 45th minute, while Romel Morales scored their win with a goal in the 83rd minute. The final team to qualify for the quarterfinals was Kelantan FC, defeating Manjung City FC 3-0 at Manjung City Council Stadium in Perak. Moving on to badminton, after returning to the fold of BAM last month, Kay Lakshana is determined to show her real fangs at the Sudirman Cup tournament in Suzhou, China, which will open on the 14th of May. Lakshana, who is currently ranked 76th in the world, is trying to step up the intensity of her training with national women's singles coach James Chua to address all her weaknesses. The winner of the 2023 Uganda International Challenge, however, is still looking for a compatible pace in the challenging training regime introduced by James upon her return to the national squad.
I'm happy to be part of Sudirman, and I hope I can give my best and won't let down the coaches or any other of my teammates. Because last time we woke up, I was still very junior, 17 years old, and I was just trying to give my best, and I think I give my best and I got a good feedback. So, but I feel very shocked to play at that time because I was so excited to play big tournament at that age, and I just want to bring the same excited to this tournament and don't want to put much expectations or pressures on me so that I can give my best and play like free-minded without any pressure.
Lakshana left BAM last year following a back injury. She also has a big dream of being in the top 15 in the world at the end of this year, thus having the opportunity to participate in high-level tournaments. In tennis news, third seed Daniil Medvedev followed Novak Djokovic and Stefanos Tsitsipas as he crashed out of the Monte Carlo Masters with a defeat against Norwegian Holger Rune in the quarterfinals. Now, the Dane tormented Medvedev with passing shots and drop shots to advance with a 6-3, 6-4 victory. The 19-year-old Rune, who reached the French Open quarterfinals last year and went on to win the Paris Masters 1000, dropped only 6 points on serve in the opening set and converted his only break chance in the second. The 19-year-old is hunting his first title of the season and will next play Jannik Sinner. Sinner cruised to a 6-2, 6-2 victory over fellow Italian youngster Musetti, who failed to back up his brilliant performance against Djokovic. The 21-year-old Sinner has reached the semi-finals at all three Masters events so far this year. Now, Manchester United have been hit by a double defensive injury blow after Lisandro Martinez was ruled out for the rest of the season and Rafael Varane sidelined for the next few weeks. Now, both players were hurt in Thursday's 2-2 draw against Sevilla in the Europa League quarter-final first leg at Old Trafford, in which United conceded 2 late own goals. Martinez, who won the World Cup with Argentina in December, pulled up in pain gripping his right ankle late in the match and was taken away on a stretcher. Manager Erik ten Hag was unable to provide an update when he faced media at lunchtime on Friday, but the club later confirmed the severity of the injury. However, the club said the Argentinian defender is expected to make a full recovery in time to be ready for the start of next season. Martinez, in his first season at Old Trafford, and Varane have established themselves as Ten Hag's preferred centre-back pairing, and their absence leaves a void as United look to end the campaign on a high. Final item on golf, 4-time major winner Rory McIlroy will forfeit $3 million from his Player Impact Performance or PIP earnings for his decision to skip this week's RBC Heritage. Now, that total represents 25% of the $12 million bonus he was awarded for finishing second behind Tiger Woods on last year's PIP list. Golfers can skip one designated event and still collect their full bonus, but McIlroy has now missed 2 of them, which the PGA Tour created to get the top players competing against each other more often amid a threat posed by Live Golf. Now, to miss a second designated event without penalty, players need an excuse absence, like an injury or risk losing part of their PIP payout from the previous year. Now, world number 3 McIlroy announced his decision to withdraw from the RBC Heritage at Hilton Head Island in South Carolina on the heels of his missed cut at the Masters, which was his 6th PGA Tour start in 9 weeks. That's it for this afternoon. Wrapping up with a recap of our top story. Prime Minister orders urgent probe into Australia drug smuggling case. Now, tune into Malaysia Tonight, coming up at 8:30 p.m. on saluran Berita RTM. We leave you with a clip of Fatu, the oldest gorilla in the world, celebrating her 66th birthday, enjoying the edible birthday gifts in Berlin Zoo. I'm Jessica Lee. I'll see you later.